Hello and welcome to the latest edition of The Verdict. At least I think that's what we call it these days. It's been a while since we've done one of these in person. I know, we spoil you, but not as much as Liverpool sport us today. A record-breaking 9 goals, 9-0 Premier League win against Bournemouth. Yes, that's right, you did hear that right, 9. It's their greatest ever victory in the Premier League, a record-breaking one in terms of the all-time Premier League records. And Tom, where to start? What performance, the perfect response after this dismal start to the season we've seen from the Reds.
Yeah, Klopp, would have wanted a response today, and he definitely got that from the performance. Just from the first minute, really, it's everything we hadn't seen in the other games this season. Really quick, off the mark in the first few minutes. Diaz gets the first goal, I think, inside 4 minutes. Exactly what they needed, because in all the other games this season, it's been really slow from Liverpool. They've looked really lethargic, even in the early stages of the game, but today it was a complete contrast. Very quick on the ball, a lot of intensity in the performance, and that sort of set the tone really just from the first 5 minutes for how the game carried on throughout the match.
You say the first 5 minutes there, they were like 2-0 up inside 6 minutes, weren't they? And you think with this run Liverpool's been on, with conceding first, I think it's 9 times in the last 11 games dating back to April. It was the perfect response there to settle any nerves here inside Anfield, to get those 2 goals. So now we just need to put on a show.
Like you said, falling behind in games has been the problem this season, going back to last season as well. And I think if Bournemouth had got the lead, a few people were saying it probably would have got a bit toxic in here. Probably could have been the case as well, I think, if that had happened, because just how negative the performances have been this season, Liverpool really needed to get that first goal, settle the nerves down, and the team, the confidence, you could just see it growing as soon as they got that goal. And then, like you said, in the second half, it was just a case of adding to that tally. Bournemouth I don't think they had really one shot, any quality throughout the whole game. It was just constant pressure on them. And yeah, it's one of the best performances obviously we've seen, in years from Liverpool's getting 9 goals, only fourth team in the Premier League era to do it. So shame they couldn't get a 10th, but no.
Yeah, the Klopp did urge him to. Oh well, can't have everything.
Oh well, yeah.
Well, there's so many individual performances we can go through today. Let's start with the obvious one. Roberto Firmino. A lot's been said about his goal scoring record. A lot's been said about his future, his role at Old Trafford. What a response from him. 2 goals, a hat-trick of assists. They were singing Si Senor, I think, after 18 minutes. He'd started that well. What did you make of his showing today?
No, really good, yeah. Firmino, like you said, he's not really been the player we saw sort of 3 or 4 years ago, when I think it was 2017-18 season when he sort of really peaked for Liverpool. We've never quite seen the same Firmino. He's sort of looked a bit slower a lot of the time on the ball. Hasn't scored as many goals in the last few years for Liverpool. But today that was just a sort of a throwback performance from him, really. Involved, I think, in 5, like you said, 5 of the goals they scored. He couldn't have really done much more, and just shows that he can still be an important player for Liverpool. There's obviously been links with Firmino to other clubs, Juventus, and Klopp sort of shut that down quite quickly, saying he's still an important player for us, we'd like to have him here. And that's why, because he's the sort of player that can make a difference when the likes of Jota and Nunez are missing. He might not be the first choice anymore, I'm sure he knows that more than anyone, but that performance is an indicator of what could be he can fight for Liverpool throughout the season.
I'm sure there'll be a fair few happy fans who've got him in the fantasy team today, won't there? But let's grow, I suppose. Luis Diaz, he got 2 goals as well. Another electric performance from him. Both great headers. It's something that we've not really seen from him before, I don't think. Maybe he scored a header he set one up against Aston Villa, sorry. But seeing it was just Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota that provided that in the attack, we're expecting Nunez to provide that in the attack. It's good to see him show that he can do that as well. He can be a threat in the air, especially from set pieces.
Yeah, I mean, he was a threat pretty much everywhere on the pitch. He gave away that foul just over here early on in the game, just chasing down every player in the ball. He's been so good for Liverpool ever since he's come here. And like you said, his sort of natural talent is more dribbling, running at opponents, but if he can add that to his game, headers as well, that's it's another bonus, another way of scoring for Liverpool. Obviously different to his first goal of the season against Palace, just cutting from outside the box, and an individual piece of brilliance. Nothing to do with aerial ability, but like you said, if he can start adding that to his game, it's going to make him even more of a threat for Liverpool. So it's a bonus for Liverpool.
Harvey Elliott, he got his first Premier League goal today. Brilliant strike from outside the box. Now, he was great for 45 minutes. He had to come off at half-time. You can already feel the groans and the worries coming here. There's another Liverpool midfielder who's come off injured, but you've sat in Jurgen Klopp's press conference. He's played that down. Hopefully that doesn't mean they're not going to go for a new midfielder still, but we'll get to that later. But what did you make of Elliott's, and have you got a bit more on that injury update that the manager's just offered?
Yeah, I think Klopp just said it was just a precaution, taking him off. I think they said after they checked it out and it's going to be nothing too serious, they hope. So, yeah, hopefully Elliott is not another one added to the long list of midfielders that are not playing. Yeah, he was really good again. He's looked very good in both, the 3 games he has played in. I know he came off the bench against Fulham, Palace. He was probably one of the only good players, and against United as well. He looked bright, even in the team that pretty awful, like, apart from him. And again today, you know, he's always looking to go forward when on the ball, a bit like Carvalho in that way, and Diaz driving at the teams. So no, it would be a shame if he is out for a while, but you wouldn't imagine that would be the case just from how he's described the injury. It's been a really positive start to the season for him, just as it was last year. Obviously, he got derailed by that injury at Leeds. Hopefully he doesn't get any more setbacks like that, and I'm sure he'll go on to play an important role for Liverpool this season.
Now, 2 players who have had a bit of stick, I suppose, so far this season. They've not reached their normal levels. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Virgin van Dijk, both on the score sheet tonight. That's the perfect response from those two, isn't it?
Yeah. As soon as Trent was on the ball there, you could hear everyone telling him to shoot. I think he's tried a couple of them like already this season that haven't come off. Obviously, we've seen him do it last season against Newcastle. He can do it from that range, and great goal from him. I'm sure he probably wouldn't have wanted that after, you know, a tough start to the season, like you said, for him. Usually a player that's, you know, performing such a high standard every week for Liverpool, and the same for Van Dijk as well. Very rarely has an off day. Man United was an off day, but again, scores a goal today and didn't put a foot wrong all day for Liverpool. So
he got an assist for the own goal as well, of course. I think that means we've only got 1 goal scorer left to go through, and that's Fabio Carvalho. I'm sure there'll be comments here saying I've missed one, but I think that's all 9. He came on at half-time for Elliott. We've seen glimpses of his talent, and he showed it again today. A wonderful volley, opens his account in front of the Kop. Liverpool have got themselves a gem there, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think that's probably why they pushed so hard to sign him as well, having missed out on him in January. Going back in for him in the summer, it's clear to see why they were interested. He's looked, again, like Elliott, very bright when he's come on for Liverpool and played this season. I actually thought he might start today. I was hoping maybe we might have seen him from the start, freshen it up a little bit, but obviously Klopp knows best. The team he did put out worked in the end, and Elliott and Carvalho's come on and done well, so I'm sure Klopp's aware of his talent, and he'll probably get plenty of opportunities this season, you would imagine.
Well, maybe if Elliott is more of a precaution and they don't want to risk him against Newcastle, Carvalho, we might see him there, of course. But I want to just finish on one thing. The owner, John W. Henry, was in the house today. We know Jurgen Klopp said yesterday that he's in the market for a new midfielder. Now, when you go and beat a team 9-0 and your midfield does as well as that, you wouldn't mind, I suppose, the owner. You could just understand, go, actually, what you've got is quite good. But now, Liverpool, it should still go for something. Like, if this is what they can do when getting back to the form, you put a new midfielder in there, and it's going to be sensational. What do you expect to happen in the next few days? You think someone will come in? Putting you on the spot here, just get you in trouble. I know you're not on the podcast on Monday, so we need to stitch you up now before the window closes.
I think that they should still sign someone yet, because we've seen it so many times now with the injuries coming back to bite Liverpool. It's already happened, and we're only 3 weeks into the season where it looks great on paper before the season starts. Same thing happened last year, and then you get the injuries that seem inevitable at the moment of Liverpool. So they can't afford to risk that happening again later on in the season, because if it does, and Liverpool are going for the title along with Man City, it's going to be a problem, because they've got that depth they can bring on from the bench, and Liverpool haven't had that. The last few games you've seen the bench, and it's been the likes of Bobby Clark, Setic, Sepp van den Berg, a lot of players, you know, that you wouldn't really want to bring on necessarily to impact the game. Thiago's the big one that you want back, and because you can't count on him too much, they need to have someone else that you can throw into the mix, because you just can't rely on him, and Naby Keita's the same as well. So they need that player that has a good injury record, hopefully, because they can't afford to keep having this happening.
And that was the cherry on the cake, of course, those youngsters coming on for debuts. But you've heard it here, John Henry, Tom Cavilla has a message for you. Get a midfielder in before Thursday. Now, it's a great result for Liverpool today, 9-0. I think they're still 5 points off Man City, but they've sent out that statement. Jurgen Klopp's told the fans to go out and celebrate. So all you blood red viewers, go out and celebrate as well. Enjoy the weekend. It's a bank holiday. Klopp said it's a perfect one. And now, just strap yourselves in. We'll wait and see if Liverpool get anyone in before Thursday's deadline. Stay tuned to the Echo website for all our post-match content. I've done the verdict, Tom's done analysis, which will be on the website in this morning. You've got player ratings on there as well, along with all our other great video content and podcasts to come. And be sure there is going to be plenty to talk about in the next few days, with Liverpool's injury list hopefully getting a little bit shorter, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see one final transfer. Until next time.